Bootroom. I'm Gareth Rogers, and with me Nathan Blake and Steve Tucker. Once again, we're talking Cardiff City, and we're in a good mood this afternoon, aren't we, gents?
Indeed.
I don't know what it takes to get
Blakey
it's the sun. In a good mood. You're all right? Yeah.
I'm fine.
Yeah.
You?
I'm fine. Yeah. I'm just wondering where's Dolly today? Not more holidays.
He is indeed. Yeah, he is playing out on the golf course or something. I should imagine.
Is he
enjoying himself?
I bet he's at the 19th hole already, knowing him.
You're enjoying ourselves.
Yeah. Crazy golf, is it? I take you down Barry Island.
I would have thought it was very crazy.
Yeah. Okay, that's about.
Anyway,
right.
Scott Malone. What a goal!
Love that.
God.
Yeah, great goal.
Reminiscent of something.
All they got to keep doing now to stay on track, keep scoring spectacular goals from every game from 30 yards out, and we'll be laughing, won't we? We can keep firing them in the top corner. But no, a beautiful strike. I mean, just sat up lovely. Left foot. I think the keeper thought it was going that way, which seemed the kind of rational thing to do. To beat him on, Rob Green on his knee. Really good keeper. Who, despite the fact he was handling the ball in the centre circle, but that's another story. But fabulous strike, and one of those again, not the complete performance, I don't think, from Cardiff again, but one of those draws that, in the end, because of the manner of it, that feels like a win. So a morale boost as well, and a word out to Sean Morrison's spectacular diving header as well, which I thought showed a lot of. Like he was getting that. And Clint Hill was sort of trying to track it, but he was just like, nah, sorry, mate.
The two ones they conceded, it was the opposite.
Well, that was a bit dodgy as well. I mean, the defending, particularly from set pieces, I think Russell Slade, he hasn't got time now with the Blackburn game. I think that's something he's surely going to be looking at on the training ground, is staying with your man. Morrison lost, it's like vice versa, lost Hill for that one. But no, plenty of, I said all along, Russell Slade, genius.
What do you think, Blakey? Hiya, Blakey.
You can speak now. You can speak.
I was just letting you out.
Welcome to Tucker's Bootroom.
Let you get your system,
I know. Okay, I'm cleansed.
No, I thought he was
screaming shoot.
I use this as therapy.
I actually thought he was looking to. I thought he gave the impression then that he was going to just whip it in behind the defence, just a little clip. I think he caught the keeper totally off guard. But great strike.
He lined one up about 20 minutes earlier as well. Dropped him exactly the same spot, and that one got blocked. He obviously had it in his mind. He thought,
yeah. But
I'm going to whack one,
Great finish.
Yeah. So, okay, 2-2 QPR. Is that a good result, especially on the back of the 1-1 against?
I think if you're looking from, if you're a neutral and not following any sort of team or anything like that, you think that's a better result for Cardiff than QPR. And I think it is a good result at the end of the day. But I do think it's kind of, looking at QPR the way they are at the moment, it's very, very early days, and they'll probably get better and stronger as the season goes on. But you would have thought it was a great opportunity to go and take 3 points from them, because they'd obviously lost their opening game of the season. Pressure was on a bit at home. And let's be fair on that showing, they're clearly not playing well, are they?
They're in a bit of disarray. Even they admit that, I think. But we'll come back in a bit to some of the stuff you spoke about in your column today, which was quite interesting. But everyone seems to be talking about David Marshall, so I feel a bit obliged to get in and talk about David Marshall. There's talk of $5 million on the table for West Brom. That could come in at any time. Both of you, really. Would you sell him at that price?
Well, I wouldn't. But if I was Cardiff City, I would watch West Brom's results very carefully, and if they came back with a $5 million bid, I'd say I want 7. It's as simple as that, because I look at West Brom and I think they've got off to a start which isn't really, going to do them any favours come, end of the season. So, they need to get off the mark. They're clearly desperate for a goalkeeper. And at the end of the day, Marshall's quality. It's not like you're buying a good goalkeeper or a decent goalkeeper. He's an international. and he's in the Premiership he's arguably the Premier League's best goalkeeper. The Championship he's probably been the best keeper for the last season and previous to the Premier League, probably a year, maybe two before that. So, 5 million, it's not to be sniffed at, but I still think he's worth a bit more money. I would say, West Brom are buying him now because they really need him. They really need a goalkeeper. If you're Cardiff City and you're negotiating, can't you take advantage of that situation and you tell them, 8 million, take it or leave it.
So you've said, I think, Tuck, that Marshall as the goalkeeper is a little bit dispensable because it's a definite. I
think I said on here last week that I would let him go, and I mean I kind of agree with Blakey there. If West Brom, a motivated purchaser, they want him. Cardiff in no real need to sell, allegedly so. So, you come on, raise the price. Looking at the QPR game, I think we got to pay a bit of credit to Simon Moore as well. I know there is talk that even if Marshall goes, another keeper comes in, but I think Moore at the moment is starting to say, well, how about me? He's be quite justified to say that.
That's turned on his head in one game, isn't
well,
it?
and I was going to say that. Well, no, I said of that mistake against Fulham, fine, everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
What I like about it is the way he's bounced back from that. Do you know what I mean? He hasn't. That Fulham was massive for him. I spoke to him when we were out in Holland, and he was like already looking forward to when I got my, the first 3 games. I got my. He would have been devastated by what happened against Fulham, and all that. But look at the maturity he's shown. Look, to put that behind him. He did that in the Fulham game. To be fair, he had a good game after that. QPR, stunning one-handed save at one point in it, and I do think, particularly if, which we understand, funds need to be freed up for Slade to do something, then I think of all the people that's worth any money that could go, I think Marshall's brilliant, but I think he could be let go. Because, they still need people in that
You're
side.
not going to get a lot, though, are you, for 5-6 million?
But for me, I don't want to come back to it.
You won't get a quality Championship player for 3 million.
You'll get a midfield. You'll get a central midfielder, which they are crying out for, in my opinion. Still, that is, if the transfer window closes and they haven't brought in a midfield general
Striker
of some description, I think it's remiss. I think. If Kenwyn Jones say striker, okay.
Yeah.
Both, okay, both. They need a flaming fullback as well. If you're looking at cover, to be honest, in many ways,
that's not the agenda.
as well. So there's still 2 or 3 players short, and I think of what's worth. They can have Etienne Velaconia if they want him for 5 million, but they obviously don't want him. I think whoever's of what is worth money, I think Marshall is the most dispensable if it leads to the 2 or 3 additions that they're crying out for if that team is actually going to make a proper push at
so
the
a question
top 6.
to you then, Tux. You don't think, no, seriously, you don't think then the Cashwe is the answer then? But let's be fair, we have...
Well, I'm not sure we're talking about the same...
And harped on about, if this player, the Cashwe, remember him, we've kind of had a little joke about it, tongue-in-cheek. But when he comes back, he's exactly what we need, blah, blah, blah. He's strong, he's a central midfielder, he's a holder, blah, blah, blah. Right, we got it?
I think I'm talking about a different player. I'm seeing more, rather than when I say general, I'm seeing more of a creative, a more explosive.
Okay.
If the Cashwe is providing that kind of platform, someone who will perform on that platform, that for me, because it sounds harsh, I thought Whittingham had a better second half at Loftus Road than he did first. I still think he's not influencing things enough for what he is. He's veteran. He's not creating enough. I still say, maybe I phrased it wrong. The Cashwe for me is looking fine, particularly as he gets fitter. I think he's going to be. I think there's a lot of promise there. I'm talking about someone to perform on that platform.
I think with the Cashwe, if Russell Slade and the management or the coaching staff get work on him just being the number 6, the holding player. Don't get in front of the ball. Just work on that side to side, forward, advance, not too far, but always just sat in front of those 2 centre halves. I think that is sewn up Yeah, I think we need a bit of explosive power and a bit of creativity, even though Witts is probably the most creative player on his day. I think we need a striker. I feel a bit... I'd be gutted if I was Kenwyn, to be honest with you, because I think he is, and I still think you've kind of lost him now. We've lost that frame of mind we had last season. He's accepted that, okay, the manager's not having me. The players he brought in and played in front of me last season, you know, come on. Kenwyn, if you know, Kenwyn is a player.
To persist with Alex Ravel over Kenwyn Jones, it's scandalous. It's ridiculous.
Well, it'll end up coming back to bite Russell if he isn't, because you can't harp on about squad and about opportunity and this and that, and you have a striker who's what, scored 1 or 2 goals in his...
Who says Alex Ravel?
Yeah. And let's be fair, I don't know the lads.
Good performance.
I don't know the lads. It's not a personal thing, but he's not, for me, what I would call a quality championship striker. No. It's as simple as that. So while you're persisting on it, we can see it. Why Russell Slade can't see it. It's almost like sometimes managers get into this thing is, if he can just get on a run of 3 or 4 goals, I can then say, well, I told you so.
I was justified, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
But you haven't got that time. City fans ain't going to give you that time. You know, he is under pressure from minute dot. So for me, put sentiment aside and just look at the best squad, best team, best system you can play, and at the moment I don't think
the system's the big issue. And you
the system's an issue. I mean, with Kevin Jones, everyone's saying he's earning too much money, he's got to go, he's leaving, he's going here.
Well, get rid of him then.
And also, that's a point. That's a point. And also, at the minute, he's right here. He's a Cardiff player. He's sitting on the bench. Yeah. He's a Premier League quality striker, and you've got a guy from Rotherham.
Yeah, and you need goals.
And you need goals, particularly from open play. They need some goals.
Really good comments coming in.
Come on, boys.
Bring them on.
The best one, which is relevant to this conversation, is Cardiff don't.
Who's it from? First, give him a shout out.
Bluebirds.
Bluebirds.
He says, time to get rid of Kenwyn. This is why, because we play good football when he's not there. When he is there, the temptation's just to bang it long.
Well, I blame the management for that. Kenwyn doesn't need it lumped up in the air to him. He can deal with that. Yeah. You can play it into him, like you said, the more withdrawn role, with his back to goal.
You can play anywhere.
He's brilliant at that. So I don't blame Kenwyn for that.
You must have played with defenders who, when certain players are on the pitch, the temptation, the jungle drums you, they see a big guy and think, I'm just going to chip it long.
Yeah. You do, but then
you can't blame the manager.
If you're a striker, you just roar at the defender who's doing it once or twice, and it tends to stop.
Okay.
You tend to tell him, but you can't see Gaz inside. Why are you playing this fight ball up when you can play it in the feet, blah, 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 blah. But I play in a different era as well, Gaz. I played in an era where British football is all, put it in the channels, chase the lost cause. Chase the lost cause, it's lost, that don't make sense. Put it in the channels. And then they wonder why, 30 years later, we're way behind like the foreigners sort of thing. Yeah. So it's for me, I think Kenwyn's very unfortunate not to be playing.
But then again, to widen it out a bit, there's a few players now who I think can regard themselves. I wrote a piece today, I don't think it's gone out yet, but for me, I was thinking about this last night. And for me, Blakey, I don't really think about this. The phrase that came to my mind is, the best Cardiff City side is starting to pick itself despite Slade almost standing in the way of the process. We know Noon's the best player at the club right now. He's red hot. Came on at QPR and changes the game. He's scoring worldies and all that. And then to keep him on the bench, I just find it incredible. There has to be some flexibility. I mean, okay, how are you going to fit him in? Okay, Pilkington's done nothing wrong. Noon is better than Pilkington now. Yeah. He's more dangerous. He's more confident. There's no sentiment. It's not a personal thing. Oh, get out! I hate you. It's like, this is for the good of the team. So why the changes are not being made?
It's like having a striker who scored 3 and 3 and then dropping him. Yeah. Like he did last year.
Well, it seems like it's just screaming. It's screaming out to me to come on this. A lot of people want to talk about transfers. We will come back to that, I promise. But it's all about the system. You've written about it today. Everyone's talking about it. Surely now, Craig
Isn't it great that we see it before they do?
Craig Noon had to play on Saturday, and the only, or the easiest way to get him in was to change the system. Alex Ravel becomes your full guy, and switch it around, play 5 across the middle, or whatever. Chris Wathen said yesterday they could even do a 3-5-2 where they used.
Yeah, they could play 3 at the back, 4 at the back. They could play 2 in front of holding, 1 in front of holding. 3 ahead of them, 2 ahead of them. 2 out wide, 1 up front, 1 dropping deep. You've got so many options.
Yeah, you've got Amiobi's not playing, Noon's not playing.
Well, straight away, those would be my 2 starters.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's the team.
And I would say the Pilks, who I love. I really like Pilks. I think he's a great player. I love the way he doesn't beat you for pace. He just trickery, but he's a lot like Noon. Noon is the same trickery. But I would say to Pilks, look, at the end of the day, it's a 22-man squad. So I said on radio Saturday, a 22-man squad, and 11 players can play. You got the shirt ahead of Noon, right? I ask all my players or all my substitute, when you come on, make an impact, right? Noon in the Premier League was arguably our best player, so he got it.
Best outfield player.
Last year, suffered with injuries, didn't get going. Right, this season, pre-season behind him, right, sat on the bench, you're waiting, you're saying, right, you need a moment, you need to ignite your season, or ignite your career again, really and truly. Boom, he comes on, scores a worldie. Midweek game, boom, scores another worldie. As a manager, that is a fantastic dilemma to have. But I call Pilks in, and I say,
he's played his way in.
Right.
Don't
listen. This means now you've got to step up. Yeah. Because Pilks, he's played well, but we're not great end product. Right, which has been our across the board. Our final third hasn't been great in my opinion. But you call Pilks in, you have a word, Noonie, right, and you go. You don't not play players when they're firing. If you don't play them when they're firing, listen, it kills you as a manager, I say, because that's when people go around and then start saying, well, he's on fire, we could do with a goal, we could do with this, we could do with... I don't get why the gaffer's not putting him in. That's what players say.
And that, I think, as you say, with players as well, that breeds that little bit of discontent where someone themselves is saying, hang on,
anxiety,
what the hell do I have to do? I'm never going to get a start because I can't do much more than this. Come on and score.
And you can't you can't use the excuse that, oh, well, I've got my set team, because it's early. So no one, listen, first 6-7 games, if you're on a bench, no one's guaranteed to start the second game, third game, no one. Yeah, because it's early season, you've gone through pre-season, manager selected his 11, probably had 1 or 2 dilemmas, selected his 11. Now, if you come on and do what Noon done in the first game, I'm not saying you have to play, but in my book, you have to play. In everyone's book, you don't have to. But my book, you have to.
I think as well.
Because you're not winning.
I think as well, he's got. Looking at the Blackburn game now tomorrow night, Slade's got the perfect method of making those changes, of saying 2 games in 3 days, guys. We're gonna have to rest. Do you know what I mean? Tired legs and all that. You are there. Pilks, we'll give you a breather. You've gone the best. Nooney, he's got the perfect opportunity now to bring. Alex, you've had you wait. We're going to bring Kenwyn's going to start. We'll bring you up. If he fails to make the changes against Blackburn, I really do think it's a case of just pure sort of stubbornness almost, or something, or as Blakey said, an inability to see the bigger picture. Well, let's be honest, even I can see. If I can see, it must be a pretty big picture.
Everything you two have said, somebody somewhere along the line has written in to say exactly the same thing. The one that's got me, that's really interested in me, is Daniel.
Daniel, son.
He's talking about Sammy Amiobi. He says, he needs more playing time. I think we all agree with that. The whole point of a loan deal is the guy comes and plays. What if Newcastle suddenly call him back, send him to another championship rival, and suddenly you find yourself...
Are they allowed?
That could probably happen.
But are they allowed to do that?
I think you're allowed to do or season-long loan. If he's not playing, if the lad's not playing...
Well, the weirdest thing about it, he'd have probably played more pitch time in the Premier League with Newcastle than he has for Cardiff. He's only come on for like 10 minutes here, and he'd be coming... whether they... I'm not sure how the loan thing works, whether they could call him back, but I agree with Daniel, though, and I said this the other day. The guy's class. He's the big... So far, he's the only flaming summer signing. He's the guy, you bring him in, he's packed with talent. He's streaming. I mean, he interviewed
he's itching to get playing. He's itching.
Well, I interviewed him after the Wimbledon game, and he was like,
he wants to be a main man.
You could tell that he was like, I'm coming here. I want to get 20 goals. I want to do this. I want to do that. To have that thwarted at the very start, I've said in a piece today, they're in danger of letting it slip through their fingers again. Yeah. They're honestly in danger of messing up one of the brightest young players in the Premier League loan deal at the club.
The one they
for some unfathomable reason.
I can't believe you didn't get him and then sort of build around him.
Exactly. That's in the summer.
That's I thought, right, when I seen his name,
that's what you do.
I thought I seen him last season a couple of times, come off the bench, score a couple of great goals, play really well. I've always thought he's exciting. He defies logic, really. You think someone that thin, do you know what I mean? But he's strong enough.
He's a big
great
bloke.
Balance.
He's a stocky bloke in a way.
He's got shoulders, and he's got mad skills. Do you know what I mean? And I thought myself,
looking against Wimbledon, that run
great
through,
signing.
the kind of thing he can do, that run where he just like finally out of midfield, cut inside, gone. And they had to turn it, and the shot was good. How often have you seen a Cardiff player do that run? Next minute it's over the bar. It was on target, the guy had to turn it around the post. I say there's got to be room. I agree with Blakey, and I think I said that the other week. I can't understand that when he arrived at their summer training camp, he didn't go, right, this is Sammy.
This is Sammy, boys.
Right, okay, we'll slot you out there. Now, what we'll do, you say to your coach and stuff, let's play a few variations around him. See, does he hit it off with anyone? Does he, do they... It's kind of like back to front in a way. Sorry, we can't slot you in. Sorry, Sammy, we actually can't fit you in. We made all this fuss, nicking you from another. Sorry, it's no play. Well, you get the odd 10 minutes here and then. I tell you what, we'll start you against Wimbledon. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't make any sense. There's some really weird decisions.
So we go from one player everyone's calling to play to one everyone's calling to drop. If I'm honest, Lee Peltier. Bluebirds back in again. He says Connolly wants to play centre-back, but he's a better right-back than Peltier, basically.
Connolly doesn't like playing at right-back.
Which is an issue.
I know that for a fact. I mean, I'm sure if he means he's in the side, he'll play that. I spoke to him in Holland again. He said, I'm not a right-back, I'm a centre-half. I know I'm not the biggest one, but my brain makes up for that, my feet make up for that, blah, blah, blah. So that's I don't think Peltier's playing.
He was the howler on Saturday where he's given away the corner needlessly that ends up in the back of the net. But also, he was sluggish. He had a bit of a.
Well, this is what I said earlier about they need they need a full back anyway. Once Peltier gets injured, all right, you stick him in at. He's at left back.
I thought he meant left back. Can't Peltier play either?
He could, yeah, but he tends to be right back. Malone plays left. And Peltier right. Fabio would be his.
Fabio can play
either side. There's no cover on the left, is there? Well, unless you've got
Fabio.
Well, Fabio can play either side. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and of course, and as the chap says, you've got Connolly can play there, of course, and he's no thing.
You've got plenty there.
Yeah, and you've got a guy there he's one of Slade's lieutenants, isn't he? He's the man he brought in.
So
I haven't seen many calls for Peltier to be dropped. Personally, I haven't, and I hadn't crossed my mind. But
he was the one. I mean, you look at the fans ratings we had yesterday. He was the one with the lowest. So him and Ravel were the two.
You are allowed to have a bad game.
I'm not. When I look around that side, no, that doesn't. You know what I mean? I don't find myself going, oh my goodness, we've got to get Peltier out of there. That's not the top of my. If I want to get angry, I'll think about Noon or I'll think about Amy or Kenway. That excites me, and I'm in the pub, sort of waxing lyrical. I don't dwell on the Peltier.
This is what all this has been leading up to, right? You two now are co-managers tomorrow night. Russell Slade's ill or whatever. You two are in charge.
I'll be the one in the suit.
Any system you want, any 11 you want, just.
Well, I've done mine. It's kind of like a 4-4-2, and it's got. I mean, I've gone with Moore in goal, although Marshall is available, and we don't know.
You pick Moore.
I'd go with Moore because if they're gonna sell Marshall,
fine.
Show some faith in Moore. He had a good game. I don't see he had a really good game against QPR. You drop him, any confidence he's built up, particularly after that howler gone. I've gone with the same back four because of injuries. I mean, I'd be interested to see what people think when Turner and when Manga are fit. What do people out there think might be the best centre-half? At the minute, Morrison and Connolly pick themselves, don't they? Nobody else there. So I got Peltier, I got Malone, who's having a good season. I mean, I've gone for across the middle then. I've gone for Noon, Amiobi, Rowles, and Dekeshwi.
Okay.
And up front, dropping with them. And up front, gone for Kenwyn Jones and Mason. Mason, still, I think, I'm like that. I'm like, I know Russell Slade's a big fan, fair enough. I'm a bit like, he looks a little bit, I know he's not getting the creators. He looks a bit, I don't want to use the word, he looks a bit weedy, right? You know what I mean? He looks like that kid at school I used to sort of like nick their dinner money off. Joe. I didn't. By the way, I'm like, I didn't. I used to get mine nicked, actually. That's right. How did I end up so far?
So basically, you'd go for the same system that Slade's got, with some more attacking wingers, basically.
Yeah, I think Noon and Amiobi on those wings, crikey, that's like... you come out as a defender on the opposition, you're like, wow, we're going to have a work cut out here. Blimey. And that's what you want. You want doubt in people's minds. And I think that's why I've gone the same with Kenwyn. I think you've always said it, Blakey, and I totally trust your opinion on everything, well, just about everything. You're in the tunnel before, and you look across and see Kenwyn Jones, you're a centre half, you're like, right, okay, let's get this show on the road. This is going to be a toughie, you know. And I like that, asking a question. That's what I've gone for. I'm sure Blakey will have it all bells and whistles.
You're a bit more creative than this.
Thanks very much. I thought that was creative.
It's effectively the same system.
All right, I'll give up.
I go with three at the back once we've
That's
got.
what I wanted to
Right, who are you going to go with at the back?
Well, my three.
What about in goal first? That's the question. Would you bring Marshall back? His suspension's up. Would you play Marshall tomorrow at Blackburn, or would you stick with Moore?
It depends on where I am with the negotiation. If it's seriously, I'm into serious. I think it'll be telling tomorrow, won't it? If he plays,
as a manager,
then there's no negotiation. Yeah, if he's not playing, then you know it's probably going to happen. So that would depend on that.
Okay.
You know, if I'm in negotiation, no, I'd stick with Moore.
But we're both in agreement, by the way. Marshall's the better keeper. Yeah, there's no.
Yeah, there's no question about that.
Yeah.
But you know.
Right. Okay, so you say three. I like that. Go on.
I would go with Connolly, Manga, and Turner would be my three centre halves, with Morrison as your covering.
Dropping the captain.
Well,
I thought we were talking about tomorrow in a way. I mean, because Manga's not fit.
No, he's trying to get. Well,
is this your dream?
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, well, that's what he's
okay,
trying
fair
to get. You know, we are going to throughout the season. They are going to be. They can't be long away.
Okay, no, go for it, man. Okay, I'm just.
Your team, with what you've
right.
got.
Okay,
I would then have the Cashby holding.
Yeah.
I'd have in front of the Cashby. I would have Rowles and possibly that's my only not sure. The other central midfielder. Then I'd have Amiobi and Nooney wide.
Right, yeah.
And I've
so it's sort of like two, like United do with those wing
two
back.
wide, yeah.
And saying
They're
you have
wing
to
backs.
cover the lot, yeah.
So you got 3, 4, 7. Not sure about him. I'd obviously pay Kenwyn, and then I'd either have Pilkington as a 10 or what's his name?
Ravel.
No. Mason, sorry.
No.
Oh, yeah.
Mason. So I'd have Pilkington and Mason as my number 10. But that's what I do. I play with one holding midfielder. I play with two ahead of him.
Yeah.
The only, like I said, the only selection problem would be in that creative role. Who do I put next to Rowles as creativity? Some would say Whittingham, some would say Gunnarsson. Gunnarsson might give you an extra bit of steel as well. Maybe away from home, I'd play Gunnarsson. Maybe at home, right now, I'd say, you might play Whittingham. But performances would have to increase and improve a little,
It strikes me that's...
As the creative side of things. Do you know what I mean? But my creativity players you know, Pilkington, Noon, Amiobi, you know, Rowles, you know.
So you got to afford to play Mason instead of Whittingham because there's so much creativity in front of that.
Yeah, it's no problem.
That's frightening about creativity in front.
Well, it is, but it's there in the squad, just sitting lame, unfortunately.
Sitting on the bench.
I think if you went to you could possibly go to a 4 as well. If you go to a 4 and you use the back 4 that played Saturday, I'd still play De Castro as my holder, but I'd tell what's his name, Peltier. I tell him and I tell fullbacks they have got, if they're not gonna overlap and get past my wingers, then you won't play.
Well, that is every time you come to speculate on Peltier and Malone's performances, that is always the aspect of it that is lacking.
I think Malone gets forward quite
well, more than Peltier, but I think they both could be more proactive on the front foot. I think defensively wise, I think you look up Championship fullback and you, in a dictionary, you get Peltier's picture there going like that. That's not disrespectful. I mean, the guy's a pro, a solid. So I just said earlier,
he's a defender first.
I think he's doing him a favour.
He's a defender first, but like
no, but nowadays, Blakey, you know what it's like.
You've got to be able to beat your winger. You've got to be able to get forward.
You've got to be able to overlap. I mean, that's just part of the game now. You can't just stand right back there waiting, you know, for someone to tackle. You've got to be more proactive.
I think there's a couple of instances with Malone where he's shown what he can do. One, he played a delightful pass to Ravel at Bournemouth for a goal in pre-season, brilliant. One was the goal Saturday, and the shot before it, in fairness, as well. Another one was a goal he scored against Cardiff a couple of years ago for Bournemouth, which was from even further out than he was on Saturday. So he's clearly got that sort of stuff in his locker. It's about getting that out. But the one thing with him is he does go too far forward sometimes and leaves Rawls and others.
I think it's just taking time to settle a bit.
But this is right. So this is what happens when you've got a fullback who likes to do that. Hence why you would say to Cashry, you do not move. Because if he's gone forward, my left centre-half either slots into that space and the Cashry sits in between the two centre-backs to make a 3 or whatever, or your 3 centre-backs sit there and the Cashry just fills in over sort of on the left side centre. That's the whole point of it. You know what I mean? You can't have a full-back that gets forward too much, I suppose, but you know, I
Fabio.
like that. I want that.
That was interesting. Yeah, you picked a 3-5-2, if you like, and didn't include Fabio in it. I was quite interested by that. And I suppose he's one you could use if you needed to. But I'm happy with what I went for.
There's
one thing I did.
Is it more interesting than mine?
It was certainly more left field than yours, but certainly you got more.
Trust you. Trust you.
You look at me like
come in here, showing off your fancy for me. Hey.
But one thing I did notice, though, Blake, from what you were saying, was it sounds like central midfield is the issue for you. That's where they're lacking.
I think it's the issue for everyone, isn't it?
For years, mate, to be honest with you.
We were just talking about that is where you can forget your strikers, you can get your... That is a creative central midfield player.
We've had so many come in and go out, haven't we?
Well, Jacob and others are talking about roles.
I see Adeyemi's getting massive good reviews at Ellen Road. Do you see that?
Mate, because he's a good player, that's why.
Somebody said, that Adeyemi looks good. Goodness me.
Jacob saying, roles... Should he be playing on the wing or in the centre of midfield?
Rolls likes the centre.
He's not got the pace to play wide.
Rolls and Rolls himself, from the horse's mouth, has said to me, I would much prefer to play in the centre.
Everyone is saying this, but to play Rolls in the centre, unless you change the system, is to drop Whittingham.
So be it. Changing of the guard.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time Whittingham's been dropped, and when he was dropped under Malky, and the other thing I'd say about Whittingham is he's such a dude that he reacts to that.
Yeah.
I know it's early, but as Blakey said, this is a time when you make the changes because nothing's written in stone. Once you're months into the campaign, you know, it's like what we do here.
You might get a little more out of him.
It becomes easier and easier.
Might get a little more out of Peter if he knows that Rowles is breathing down his neck for his shirt.
Yeah. Or if it's an option. So, I mean, a lot of people are talking about the manager and what have you. And,
what are they saying about the manager? Do they want him
sacked? Jazz.
Do they want him sacked
like
yet?
That
or what's going on?
All I'll say is, after 7 games last year, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was shown the door. Tan went to Loftus Road to see Slade's team on Saturday. Would he have been happy with what he saw?
Apparently so. He's happier.
Well, he's not going to come off and say, I thought, well, actually, Vincent Tan might come off and say, I thought that was a load of rubbish. He's that kind of guy. But,
and do you two think he's on course to last more than 7 games this season, was where I was heading?
I think he's on course to last more than 7.
Last
Whether he's
more
on
than
course
7
to,
games? Yeah.
Whether he's on course to last the season.
Like Solskjaer drew the first one and won the second one.
Yeah, I would say it'll be, if there is going to be a change, it wouldn't be until January.
It's too late.
And I don't think they will change.
Well,
okay.
Let's be fair. I mean, I'm not Russell Slade's biggest sort of, I haven't got a poster of him on my bedroom wall or anything like that. But I think so far, okay, we could say with the personnel issues we talked about here, maybe he's got a bit of a blind spot, maybe not.
Spent the last 20
yeah, I know. I mean, spent 20 minutes slagging him off. I'm not going to praise him, but you know what it is. No, I think the start they've made. Hey, put it this way. If they'd lost both those games and played anywhere like they were playing as poorly last season, that computer had been in meltdown with people coming on here going, he's got to, now they'd be saying, he's got to go, he's got to go. He is starting slightly to silence, not to silence the critics, but they're still there probably sharpening their knives. But at the minute, I think he's done enough just to bed them down. I'm treating it like a mine.
Just while I think about it as well, I'd like to say thank you to Jason for sending in your video to us.
Oh,
over the summer. It was excellent. We've all seen it. And
Jason in Australia?
Yeah, Jason in Sydney.
G'day, mate.
Say to him, have you not seen his video yet?
You all don't show me nothing, do you?
No, well, you're not on social media. You're like a caveman. You're like a caveman.
Yeah, I like to be caved.
You are. You're like a cave.
We'll show it to you as soon as we finish.
We'll show you. But Jace,
thanks for sending it in.
We really enjoyed watching it, and we're so glad that you enjoy the show, because you're the one guy who enjoys the show. So,
yeah, man.
Is that right?
You know, he sent a love letter to video.
Would you do a trip to Australia?
Oh, that would be
all
nice,
expenses
yeah,
paid.
That'd be nice. I'm looking forward to France next year when we're on the road there with Coleman's
camper van. That brings us on nicely. I did say we'd come back to transfers. Daniel's come in and said, I'd like to see more Welsh players. A lot of people are saying this in the Cardiff team. Which 3 Welsh players would you bring in?
Bale. Ramsey.
and
I don't really mind after that of anyone.
But are there any that you think can crop?
What, like realistic ones?
How about Hennessy?
Well, you'd have Hennessy in goal would be good. I mean, I'm all for more, but I like Hennessy. I mean, obviously, if he was going to come in. It's like... well, no, Hennessy's better than Moore. He's a more finished article. If suddenly they said he's coming in on loan, I wouldn't be unhappy about that. But I'm not a big thing on... Oh, Cardiff must have Welsh. That's like being at Chelsea and going, oh, all these look at Hazard and all that. Why haven't we got an East End or Londoners West in here? London. Well, West London, but you know what I mean. London. Yeah. Why haven't we got more Londoners in there? Well, you don't. That's the last of your concerns, isn't it? I know we're Welsh and a bit different, but I don't lie awake at night worrying about the lack of Welsh Cardiff representation.
I think the
Welsh
problem you have when you don't have any sort of home representation is you've got no one to pass the knowledge of what it means, blah, blah, blah. And I know they're kind of cliched, but trust me, if you've got a couple of homegrowns in the team who are mainstays as well, you know, a centre-back maybe, a good central midfielder, a good striker, or, you know, whatever, a solid right back who's been captain for 3 or 4 years or something like that, it does, the players coming in do tend to mould into what they know, what those homegrown players know, and how they are about the club.
Talking of that, and linking it with transfers, Joe Ledley at Palace. Come on. The guy, was he on the bench? Yes, he wasn't even on the bench, was he? Was he on the bench?
I don't get why you say names that I don't think are even remotely possible in coming though.
Why? He's not even on the bench for Palace.
He's a Premier League player.
Yeah, well, I know, but it doesn't. If he's not getting on the bench, maybe he was on the bench. He certainly didn't get on the pitch.
Yeah, but Joe's established. Sammy's never been established, has he?
Well, he's being slightly disestablished at the minute.
Yeah, but why is your automatic thing?
Well, I don't know. I just thought he's exactly the kind of player they need. He's from Cardiff. He's out of favour seemingly at the moment at Palace.
Probably go to West Brom first, something like that.
Well,
he needs a bit of ambition. Nothing wrong with it. Exactly. With your thinking, you'd be going, oh, Bellamy, you know, he's going to go to West Brom. You know,
there is a name that's been mentioned. I haven't heard of this lad. Apparently, there's a lad scoring goals for fun called Tom Bradshaw. the striker for Walsall. Any heard of him?
Can't say I have, no.
We have to have a look at him. And there's another one, a keeper for Southend called Daniel Bentley, if Marshall goes. So that's 2 news. Okay, so we've done, what team would you pick? You've got 2 weeks of the transfer window left. What is your priority?
I think Cardiff are chucking you a bit of a curveball, to be honest with you.
Go on.
I think at the same time, Russell Slade is saying we're going for top 6. He has got to understand how difficult it is if at the same time they're saying you've got no money to spend. Even if they say you raise 5 million from Marshall, you can have that to spend in the transfer market. There is no way you can cut. Oh, I say there's no way. There is. It's possible. You can get better players and better manager, more out of the players, blah, blah, blah. But it's very, very or extremely difficult to slash your wage bill and at the same time gain promotion. It's almost it's not impossible. I mean, teams have come up into the Championship doing that, but very rarely will a team, even Bournemouth last season, it spent money. Do you know what I mean? Rarely will you be able to get promoted without spending money. So I think it's a bit of a curveball being chucked out there at the moment. Okay. And I felt this several occasions. I thought to myself, why? Surely Russell would have been better saying publicly, we're just looking to improve on last year. We are looking to solidify what's going on and, really create a good structure.
Surprises me a bit.
Good foundation that, maybe if we end up in the playoffs, great. But then, in 3 or 4 years' time, the new manager can come in and take, well, we're just looking to set some good foundations at the moment. I don't see how you really and truly go for promotion while slashing the wage. Because you've got Kenwyn on the bench and you're playing him, and as Tuck said already, the reason for not playing him is because his wages, so why we got to get rid of him, sort of thing. So there's a cost.
Didn't bother QPR with Charlie Austin, but...
No, but there's a cost-cutting exercise taking place, and if QPR can sell Charlie, they will, trust me.
Yeah, they certainly wouldn't not play him just because...
No, but... You understand my point.
If Kevin Jones is getting paid too much, he's getting paid now. He may as well play.
Exactly.
What's the point?
Exactly.
They're paying him. But the interesting thing for me would be, quite interesting talking about you're talking about a season of consolidation in a way.
I think you need it. I think it's been so much madness.
Does Slade then go? Is that enough though? Is he kept for next summer to go into the next season, or do you get rid of him saying, well,
more than anyone said, he's got to get off to a flyer this season,
Well,
we've all said it.
Well, like I just said just now, I don't think he's done himself any harm. I know it sounds contradictory. I mean, sitting round discussing what the manager's got wrong player-wise is as old as the hills. That's what there's probably someone at the Royal Engineers in 1888 going, I should be playing so-and-so. I mean, that's what you do. I don't think Slade has necessarily done himself any harm in these first 2 games. No. He's starting from a low position. Last season, everybody was like, look at this. At least now, people came away for the first time in a long time, came away from the QPR game saying, wow, that was exciting. That was good. That was brilliant. Well, not wow, but, they were saying, they were excited. They was better.
Spirit.
Yeah, they showed some spirit. They fought back. They fought back. I don't think at this point in time he's done himself any harm. He needs a win, obviously.
It comes down. I mean, the question you asked, it comes down to the board. Then, if they've got to have a strategic plan over the next 3 to 5 years, they look at it, and if after a year of consolidating, then let's say, and settling everything down and just becoming a good, solid Championship club, and then you want to take it on again. What you need to do is learn lessons from before. You don't want to rush and run into there and then fall back down. Yeah. You want to gradually, slowly build into a Premiership team and become a strong Premiership club.
Yeah. I think the problem is, though, you've got the parachute payments, you've just come out.
At this moment in time, I think you could probably say to Russell Slade and Cardiff, right, you consolidate. Then as a board, you just say, right, do we believe that Russell has the ability to take us, from what he's telling us, to take us to that next level, right? Which is a top 6 Championship club. Yeah. If you don't feel that, you start looking for a manager who does. But that manager has to fit into what you are as a club, your philosophy as a club. I think that is a massive, massive issue with us, is that we tend to change Dave Jones played one way, Markey played another way. So it was offensive, very defensive, then very offensive, and then middle of the road, more defensive than offensive. And we just, you know, they call it in golf, like army golf. You go left, right, left, right.
I still say, you're
that.
talking about that, I still say the Solskjaer appointment was... I don't see too much of it. Okay, from Dave Jones to Malky, there was a change, but they became more defensive. But that's what Mackay was like. You know, he wanted that. Dave Jones was a bit more. But I don't think the transition was like, wow, this is gonna. But I think
it was.
I think
because you've got to wait. Whoa.
Okay, hold on.
If you're going to make a point, you got to think yourself how many attempts Dave had at promotion. And I've played for Dave. Dave is an attack-minded manager. He does think more.
Okay, but
attack.
It didn't.
But he's not. Listen, he's not poor defensively. He knows how to set up and structure the whole thing.
Some of the defenders he brought in, Roger Johnson, Luvens. I mean, crikey, he knows a defender. He's a defender himself.
Offensive than Malky. You did go from very offensive to very defensive-minded.
Okay. Maybe the point I was trying to make then was it didn't feel such a wrench or a transition. Probably because Mackay was successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It just felt like an evolution because he was successful. You know, it felt like, all right, it may not be as exciting to watch, but blimey, they're hard to beat, and they get some good goals. I think that the problem came, and I'm sorry to harp on him, but it was Solskjaer. Who for me was completely clueless. Had no idea. And I think he overburdened the squad. He made too many wrong signings. He's still clearing out the mess that he left behind. Russell Slade.
Yes, but you have to as a club. You've got a board of directors. You've got a chief executive. You've got an owner. You can't just say, "Oh, right." This is what I'm saying. If you haven't got a philosophy, then you adopt someone else's. So what they done was adopt Dave Jones's. Then they adopt Marky Mackay's, which was going from offensive to defensive. Then they adopted Solskjaer's, who was then going back the other way to going very offensive. Then they adopted Russell Slade, which went back to being more defensive than offensive. Do you understand what I mean?
Yeah, well, I blame the board because the appointment of Solskjaer at that point in time, where Cardiff were in the Premier League, and I know it came off extraordinary circumstances because of the relationship, what had happened between Tan and Mackay. Right, I'm not even going to go into that, but of course we know that, what had happened there. The appointment of Solskjaer was an error of such catastrophic proportions that we are still paying the price for it now. And the one thing to remember is they might not even got relegated with the right flaming manager in there. And all this thing about bouncing back might be completely hypothetical, because if they brought it, you know, I mean, everyone at the time was going, he was brilliant at Man U, what a player. Man,
that was a player.
They needed an experienced older. They needed a I don't even know where Warnock was there or whatever. That is what they needed. They needed someone, as Blakey says quite correctly, they needed the continuity candidate from Mackay. Who was going to say, right, we're going to be tough to beat.
I thought Tony Pulis was the perfect candidate.
Well, Palace at that time,
yeah.
I think he'd gone to Palace a few weeks before. But that's not the end of it. But I still say that appointment of Solskjaer, I mean, I know it's easy in retrospect.
But what I was going to say was the board thought they were lucky to get him when they got him. They worked hard.
Be careful what you wish for, eh? Be careful what you wish for. Yeah?
That's right.
Yes, you know, I mean, although, you know, I have to beat myself up about it in the sense of but I still say early on, I'll always remember the point with Solskjaer that completely freaked me out, and that was when I saw the team sheet at the Liberty Stadium for the Welsh Derby, and I looked at it and I was like, and I remember saying to someone, he's either going to look like a complete genius at the end of this game, or he's going to look like an absolute fool. And we knew which way it fell, and I don't think he barely recovered the tinkering and the messing. Anyway, we're going back into history now, but I mean, I do agree with Blakey about continuity, and none more so was that needed from Mackay to his predecessor, and it didn't happen.
There's only a couple of minutes left, and obviously there's a match.
Oh, it's flown.
Tomorrow night, isn't it?
Is there anyone we haven't criticised? Well, if you want us to criticise, you write in, and me and Blakey will personally criticise you for whatever. You know, if you're wearing the wrong trousers or something.
We've picked up a few people.
You have. So no wonder they don't like us down there, Blakey.
Speak for yourself.
What? That's not you told me. They love Blakey, they hate me. I've heard that one before on many occasions.
Don't love me,
Blackburn away, though, that doesn't get any easier, really, does it? That's a tough one.
It's a tough league, mate.
It's difficult.
You know, you look at I think last season, I think there were only 4 or 5 teams who had never played in the Premier League, and one of them was Bournemouth.
Look at the way the results are panning out already. I know it's only 2 games. It's only Brighton, I think, have got 6 points. Is it? Middlesbrough got. They've looked good, but you get the impression.
I think Hull are looking good.
You get the impression it's still all to Well, I know it is still all to play, but
I think you
written in stone. This.
I think Hull drew with on the weekend.
Leeds, I think.
No. Hull drew with one of the favourites.
Yeah.
One of the favourites. Come on, 8th. Hull drew with Wolves.
That's right.
Yeah. Right? Their 2 teams I fancy.
Okay.
Next up for Cardiff after Blackburn.
I think those 2 teams I fancy. I think Middlesbrough. I think they're another team you got to fancy. There's always a surprise package. It's every year.
Cardiff City.
There's always a surprise package. Maybe Brighton. I mean, it's early days, but everyone's tipped them to go down.
Fulham. You have to look out.
So, to me, there's 4 or 5 very good teams in the league. Very good. I don't mean okay. I mean 4 or 5 very good teams in the league.
We're still at the point where some Premier League players are still playing in the Championship. Jordan Rhodes being one of them. Was probably going to go, but he's there for now. And after facing Charlie Austin on Saturday, now you've got him. And thankfully, Gusted has moved on to Villa. So it makes Blackburn a little bit less of a threat.
Yeah, he also had the lad, the quick lad who went on to Bournemouth. I'm terrible with names, and I played King. Joshua King. Yeah. So he's gone as well. So I don't know. It's just one of them. It's difficult to put your finger on anything at the moment.
I'd like to see changes, though.
I'd like to see a win.
We've sat here and basically thrown these massively attacking lineups that Slade should be running out with, and then suddenly you think, Blackburn away on a Tuesday night. Is that
mine wasn't that attacking.
But they're not attacking. You always attack with 4 or 5 players, and you all defend as a team. But if someone counter-attacks you, you want to tend to have your keeper plus 4 or 5 players. So you that's the way football is becoming. It's kind of like a split. Do you know what I mean? You've got 4 or 5 attack. Man City play like it. They play like 3 with 1, and then they play 2 holding, 2 centre halves hold, but the full backs flow on.
It's nice to see Cardiff play like Man City did yesterday. That would.
That'd be great. I'd really enjoy that.
It's going to be some evening up at Ewood Park if that's the case.
Join the other Blues.
Fantastic.
So, dare I trouble you? Oh, go on, Tuxedo.
No. I was just going to say. I think I just said it. I mean, I'd like to see him bring some changes in. I'd like to see Noon start. I wouldn't be opposed to Amiobi starting. I'd definitely like to see Kenwyne Jones start. However, even if he sticks with the system that he seems to prefer, I think that works. I think that gives him more threat going forward.
We haven't got time to be watching points score.
I said to you earlier, I think his best side is picking itself for him, and he's still not taking the hint.
Does seem to be.
It's presenting it. It's going, da-da, here you are, Noon there, so there, Kenwyne through the middle, there you go, and it's still like, and Alex Raval, you're like sitting there going. You're looking around thinking, is it just me?
No, come on, it's not. And I hate, like, we're not digging out Alex or anything like that. No. Do you know what I mean? You just have to accept it sometimes. He is 100% that. No, he's not, and he keeps getting picked. Right. He's working his ass off. And him and the manager clearly got a relationship and a friendship. So that is what I believe is coming into it. But I just don't want to. I don't want people to think or think we're going to turn on Ravel or anything like that.
No. But I think he's got the excuse to make the changes with that 2 games in 3 days.
He's an experienced enough pro to know exactly where he stands.
Well, Alex Ravel has run himself to death for the cause. That's the one thing he is like. His legs must be stubs by now. So I mean, what better then to say, right, Kenwyne had thing, we're going to switch it round. You've got as I said earlier, he's got the ready-made excuse. 2 games in 3 days. It's a squad game, guys. Nooney's coming in on the thing now. I don't see the problem with it, but then again, I'm maybe.
There's a slight change of pace. It's just dawned on me. You got your prediction correct.
You see that?
I think it's the first in your whole career.
Sorry, sir. 2-2. Last week's 2-2 at QPR.
Well done, mate.
So
I'm really glad I put that 500 quid on it down the bookies as well.
yeah.
I tell you, if I had, I wouldn't be here. I'd be out partying now. What boot room?
Scott Malone go hit that ball. You cheered more.
I was in. I was like, whoa, get in there. But I wish I had. But that's my best result prediction since my famous, which is still famous in my mind, 3-3 draw at Sheffield United.
Oh wow!
Imagine that. Imagine predicting a 3-3.
Sheffield United.
Yeah, it was about 6 years ago, mine.
That's
It's the last time I got one right. Tomorrow, 2-1 Cardiff.
Brilliant.
I was going to say the same thing.
2-1 Cardiff. Why not?
I'll go 1-1 draw then.
And obviously there's Wolves then Saturday.
Oh wow, we haven't even spoken about that.
Yeah, well,
that is a defining game. That is a kind of. I mean, obviously it's too early days, but I mean that is kind of like that's just like
good reflection.
This is what it's going to be like.
A good reflection.
Yeah. This is you get a taste of the future moving forward.
That's where Wolves are. They're naughty up front. Lafondre's on the bench.
Oh, crikey, Lafondre's.
They're two boys
Lafondre's
up
probably
front.
going to get hat-trick.
They are naughty.
Yeah. You see,
Proper
you've
naughty.
just gone for a win at Blackburn. Back that up with a win against Wolves.
Oh, hey, don't make me predict too much. I've only so much I can do. I'm like the oracle at Delphi. Don't overdo me.
Everyone's running down the bookies once a year. They're so get
I just like nobody go to the bookies. I don't want anyone coming around saying, Tucker, you cost me 20 quid. I'll be like, I get enough abuse as it is walking round. So I don't.
Can they do 2 wins?
Nah, I'll go for a draw against home to Wolves.
You've done a draw with Blackburn.
Yeah, I think we'll struggle against Wolves. I really do. I think the front two, if you've got a 2 in a partnership or one wide, one up front, you've got people who are connecting in partnerships. It is a dangerous thing.
Well, that's what Slade's always on about, is we get our partnership sorted.
What a positive way to end the show.
He's getting the partnership sorted, just the wrong ones.
We'll be there.
Well, but it's still good, and I still say it's been I'll say it's a better start to the season than yes.
So
that's true.
We've got live development action for you tonight, and then we've got Blackburn tomorrow, and then Wolves on Saturday. So stay with us.
Wow.
And thanks for joining us for another week, and we'll see you back here next Monday.